everyone. Today I wanted to talk about how narcissistic people manipulate and control others through one of the traits of the disorder that's on the DSM-5, the arrogance and the dominance within the narcissist personality disorder. People do need at least 5 of these traits to be classified as on the disorder. I shall link that video in the description. So when it comes to arrogance, we can often be taken in by arrogance because it can be mistaken for confidence. Now, confidence is somebody that is confident with their own abilities, their own thoughts, their own beliefs, their own values, their own achievements, things that they have actually achieved. And ability to be confident in how they dress, how they present themselves, how they speak, and not take criticism from other people if it isn't constructive criticism. If it's deconstructive criticism, they're willing to put that in a box over there and think, that's on you, if that's what you want to think about me. I know that I am not that. With a narcissist, they have that arrogance. So even if you give them constructive criticism, they will take it personally. And they have their own beliefs and their values, but they can be very disrespectful of somebody. And if somebody calls them out on that behaviour, they are arrogant enough to still believe that they are right, which is to do with their lack of empathy. They don't have that understanding to see where they could be going wrong, to see where they could be hurting people. So they often and very easily get offended by criticism, but they are very arrogant with who they are as an individual, whether that's being arrogant and playing the victim, the vulnerable narcissist, or whether that's being arrogant in the look at what I've achieved in my life, the grandiose, over obvious narcissism. But arrogance, they will still exaggerate things. They will either exaggerate the things that's happened to them to pull on people's emotions, to pull on people's vulnerabilities. They will match things that you've been through to pull on your sympathy so that you help them, or they will exaggerate their achievements, or they will exploit other people's achievements and take them on as their own. So it's easy to get drawn into that arrogance because it can come across as confidence. Again, it can be down to the way people dress, and it can come across as confidence. The human mind does get drawn into that. But you will often notice there'll be times where they'll be sat telling you something and it just doesn't quite match up. It just doesn't quite make sense. And if you were to ask them about it, to explain, to go in more detail, yes, there's some people that might just forget things, but they will talk over you. They will change the subject. They will do something to distract you from knowing the truth about them. And then we have the trait of the dominance, controlling. And dominance is what people have naturally. You tend to naturally have people that are more dominant than others. Which works well in certain aspects of life. When it comes to a boss, you need a boss that is more dominant so that the whole office doesn't go into chaos. A boss that will delegate and arrange things and keep everything running smoothly. With a teacher in a classroom, you need that dominance in the teacher to control how the day is going to go for everybody's benefit. Parents, you need that control, you need that discipline in the household. If you tell a child to get dressed, there's plenty of children that will just sit there and not get dressed. So sometimes as parents, we do have to be that dominant role model in the house to get things done. But the intentions behind that dominance of a person with empathy, a person with respect for others, and it's that dominance by respect, whereas a narcissist is usually dominance by fear. So we need that dominance, but the difference is with good intentions, it's to make lives run smoothly for everyone involved. With empathy, it's to make life run smoothly for everybody involved. With a narcissist, it's to manipulate things to have everything their own way, again, with their lack of empathy, with their willingness to exploit people, with their willingness to distort people's reality, to gaslight, with their willingness to make people believe in things that aren't actually true. Their dominance is to control people to meet a need of their own. So they have the power of influence to exploit people to get their needs met. They will idolize people. They will put people on that pedestal. They'll raise people up so high just to drop them low. To pull people in, to make people think that they are somebody that they are not. It's the whole saying of, you can lead a horse to water, but you cannot make it drink. Technically, there is ways to manipulate a horse to get it to drink, and 9 times out of 10, people will be doing that in the horse's best interest, because it's looking dehydrated, because it's been on a long hack. So they will lower its head, they will stroke its face, they will add things to the water to convince the horse to drink for its own benefit. A narcissist will use things like sleep deprivation, because when you've got that sleep deprivation, you're not functioning at your best to see reality, to see what's happening. So they will manipulate the situation to get their needs met, to get you to think how they want you to think, to get you to behave and conform how they want you to behave and conform. They do this through things like your emotions. They do it through your loyalty, through your obligation, through guilt tripping you, through putting fear into you to appeal to your emotions to get their needs met. They do it through triangulation. So they may go on and on and on about how amazing somebody else is, and completely put you down, or they'll go on about how someone else would do something for them that you wouldn't do, to take down your boundaries, to get that control without you realizing what they are doing to you. In any given relationship, as I said at the beginning of the video, we can have one person that's more dominant than the other, which is good. It's healthy, and it's usually through mutual respect of each other and mutual empathy for each other. So they still care about each other's needs getting met. So you've got the one that will lead the way and the one that will, I hate to say it, but go along with it. Yeah, they would be able to speak up when something doesn't sit right with them and say, not quite sure about this. And the dominant one would be able to then communicate with the less dominant one and meet a mutual compromise together. So it's not a case of who's better than the other. It's not a case of who's in charge. It's not a case of who's under the thumb. It's a case of a relationship, give and take, working, taking on those roles and working well together to meet each other's needs in life. With a narcissist dominance, it's about them being in control, and you do as they say or get punished. They do it by gaslighting, which when you are sleep deprived, when you are financially abused, things like that, when you are isolated from support, gaslighting is a hideous form of abuse within itself. But when you are isolated from that support, it's a very, very confusing place to be, because they will come at you with game after game after game. And at the beginning, you can be thinking, I'm sure that, but because they are the dominant one, and because you're the one that's trying to please them, when they're coming at you with, that didn't happen, I never said that, if only you, it puts you into that cognitive dissonance where your realities and your beliefs are just no longer matching up. They are dominant through projection. So if you suspect they are cheating on you and you go and ask them about it, they will come at you with, well, what about where you went last week? What about when you did this? They can also be very controlling of your whereabouts, where you are, what you are doing, who you are seeing, what time you're back. They can put that fear into you to make you get back at a certain time, otherwise you know that all hell's going to break loose when you walk into that house. Test your boundaries, and they can push and poke away at you, and when you say something back, you don't like that, or what did you mean by that? They can then come at you with, I was only joking, don't be so sensitive, which then again puts you in that cognitive dissonance, because they are the dominant one and they are quite arrogant in the way they behave, that it slowly shrinks who you are as they gain a further advantage over you. They can belittle you, and they can use your strengths against you. They can pick and prod and poke at all your strengths to pull you down on all your qualities. All those things that in a healthy relationship someone would love about you and someone would want to raise you up and help you out as you do them. With a narcissist, they want to pull you down. They want you to question and doubt yourself so that they can further their dominance, they can further their control, and they lack the empathy. They are arrogant enough to think that they are just allowed to exploit people without a care for how it affects them. Bait and switch, the reactive abuse, where they again prod and poke and come at you and come at you and come at you. They can use your strengths, they can use your weaknesses, they can use your biggest fears, because they know they're the things that will get you to react. And people have a limit. So when you snap, when you turn around, when you finally crack and give them the reaction they want, they then stand there, calm demeanour, all normal. I think you might have mental issues. I think you might need help. Because you've reacted, because you reflect on your behaviour, you then question yourself and not what they did to lead up to the events that have just happened. They can be unreasonably demanding of you, but it's not a case of they'll demand something and then you don't do it and things just settle down, because people can be demanding. It's human nature. When we want something done, we can be demanding, and we can also recognise when we step over the mark. A narcissist often cannot recognise when they step over the mark, or they don't have the guilt or the empathy. They lack the empathy to care whether they've stepped over the mark. So when it comes to unreasonable demands, they will keep pushing at you, they will keep poking at you, they will do something to make you react, and then blame it on you to try and then, well, if you hadn't have done this, maybe you could now do this for me, this would make it up for me. They can shame you into doing things for them. They can use overt and covert threats. So they can use the obvious threat of, if you don't do this, I will do that. And then, to top it off, they can turn around later on and say, I was only joking. So you're left thinking, oh, are they they're putting that fear into you so that you give in to their unreasonable demands. Whatever a narcissist does, it's always in their best interest. There is no give and take. They can falsely give, but only because they want to take from you. If you do find the information helpful on the channel, please do subscribe. Any advice that you have for anybody, please also add that in the comments, because we are all individuals. We do have different perspectives on things. We do have different takes on things, and we can listen to that one video once and think, no. We can listen to it a few times and pick different things out each time. We can read a comment and it can give us that light bulb moment to go and look at something else and learn about who we are. So a few ways to help with this, whether you're in this situation or so that you don't get in this situation in the future. One is learn about the narcissist personality disorder. It does actually help, because when we don't know about something, we can't recognise what we do not know. So once we know about it, we can recognise what's happening. Then it's a case of building on our self-esteem, building on our values, building on our beliefs. learning not to take things personally from other people. Yes, we can take a step back and we can think, is that my intentions behind that? No, it's not my intentions behind that. And we can then think that's on them. That's not on me. You don't have to explain yourself to everybody. You have to explain yourself to you. And if your intentions are good, it doesn't matter what someone else is thinking. When people are putting you down, that's usually on them. So we do have to grow that kind of thick skin and think they've got some sort of issue within their life where they've got to make themselves feel better by lowering me, and I am not going to lower myself to make somebody else feel better about themselves. That it's hard. It's okay to help people, it's okay to want to help people, but it's helping the right people, it's helping the people that want the help. Creating your boundaries, knowing the behaviour you will and will not accept from other people. Boundaries are a must in life. Healthy boundaries are to protect you. They are not to be mean to anybody. They are not to no longer help other people. They are to protect you and who you are. And with healthy boundaries, if someone says no to you over something, you have the ability to respect that. And the people you want in your life are people that would have the ability to respect you for who you are. Thank you very much for listening.